for the very first time, Iran didn't just issue threats, it actually pulled the trigger. And this single act was what turned the skies over Tel Aviv into a fiery red horror show that night. The sky was glowing, pulsing with fear, and filled with disbelief. Amateur video footage captured the chilling atmosphere of that night. Flashes of light exploded in the distance, striking different parts of the city, followed closely by loud, thunderous booms and shockwaves so strong they shattered windows across multiple buildings. Over in Haifa, sirens wailed nonstop, echoing through the streets in a way the locals instantly recognized. Israel's air defense was under severe pressure. Civilian cameras recorded the chaos and terror in real time, moments of sheer panic frozen in pixels. The Iron Dome system was firing a relentless barrage of interceptors into the sky, while David's sling raced to catch up with the trail of ballistic missiles darting overhead, faster than anyone had ever imagined. What most people don't realize is that this moment marked the first time Iran launched its largest medium-range ballistic missile in an actual combat scenario, the Khorramshahr 4. This wasn't just another piece of military hardware. It was a powerful statement, a symbol of intent. Iran was making it clear it was done playing defense. The counteroffensive they named True Promise 3 wasn't an empty threat. It was a direct fulfillment of what they claimed was an inevitable vow. A true promise, not just in name but in action, signaling Iran's unwavering commitment to retaliate against Israel's earlier strikes. So what is it exactly that makes this missile such a terrifying weapon in Israel's eyes? And, more importantly, how did it manage to crack the myth of Israel's supposedly impenetrable air defense system? Keep watching, because what happened next could change how we understand modern warfare, especially when the multi-layered Iron Dome finally buckled under the pressure of a nearly invisible strike. The Khorramshahr 4 is far from an ordinary missile. It stands as the pinnacle of Iran's decade-long development of its ballistic missile program. With a range that exceeds 2,000 kilometers and a warhead that weighs in at 1 ton, this missile doesn't just deliver explosive damage. It carries strategic consequences powerful enough to shift the military balance across the region. And, perhaps most alarming for Israel and its allies, this missile slipped through radar detection entirely. Powered by hypergolic liquid fuel, the Khorramshahr 4 is engineered for efficiency. This type of fuel simplifies the fueling system, speeds up launch preparation time, and offers greater operational flexibility on the battlefield. The missile can be launched from both fixed platforms and mobile launchers. This dual capability gives Iran the advantage of executing lightning-fast strikes while maintaining enough mobility to evade early detection systems. Its range is long enough to strike any location within Israeli territory, even when launched from western Iran. What makes it even more formidable is its incredible cruising speed, estimated to exceed Mach 12 during the terminal phase. At that velocity, intercepting it becomes nearly impossible for current defense systems like the Iron Dome or David's sling. One of its most devastating features is its warhead, which is powerful enough to destroy large military installations or critically important infrastructure with just a single strike. From a design standpoint, the Khorramshahr 4 uses a sophisticated maneuverable re-entry vehicle, or MAR-V. This technology allows the warhead to make precision-guided maneuvers during the final stage of its flight path. that not only improves accuracy, but also enables the missile to evade interception. This is exactly why, during Operation True Promise 3, several of these missiles reportedly slipped through Israel's air defense. The credit for that success goes to the MARV technology. Some military analysts suggest that the Khorramshahr 4 might also be capable, now or in the near future, of carrying multiple independently targetable re-entry vehicles, or MIRVs. While Iran hasn't yet demonstrated this capability in action, if confirmed, it would make Iran one of the very few non-nuclear countries to possess such advanced strike-multiplying technology from a single missile. The Khorramshahr 4 follows a three-phase flight path: the boost phase, where it rapidly ascends, the mid-course phase, which occurs outside the atmosphere, and the terminal phase, where it re-enters Earth's atmosphere and dives toward its target. It's in this final phase where the MARV plays a critical role, executing horizontal maneuvers that confuse enemy radars and break through conventional interception logic. With all of these features and advanced capabilities, the Khorramshahr 4 is more than just a military threat. It sends a loud and clear signal that Iran possesses the means to shift the regional balance of power, with or without nuclear weapons. During the wave of attacks in Operation True Promise 3, the Khorramshahr 4 played a role that simply could not be ignored. Iran openly claimed that it was this very ballistic missile used to strike strategic targets deep inside Israel. The attack was in direct retaliation for U.S. airstrikes and the assassination of a senior commander of the Revolutionary Guard. What made this operation even more remarkable was the fact that it was not carried out through Iran's usual network of proxies, like the Houthis or Hezbollah, but was instead orchestrated directly by Tehran itself. Videos shared by conflict monitoring accounts like Mensch Osint and My Lord Bibo showed sharp flashes of light cutting through the Israeli night sky, followed by massive explosions in Tel Aviv and Haifa. According to on-the-ground sources, several of the missiles managed to punch through Israel's layered defense systems, including both the Iron Dome and David Sling, and struck military and infrastructure targets directly. At least 2 missiles are believed to have landed near the port of Haifa, sparking massive fires that burned uncontrollably for several hours. Another missile reportedly detonated in western Tel Aviv, disrupting power and communication networks across multiple districts. This was more than a show of military strength. It was a new form of high-tech asymmetric warfare, where ballistic missiles could bypass even the most sophisticated electronic shields that Israel has long relied on for defense. The Iron Dome, which was designed primarily to intercept short-range rockets, proved to be underpowered when facing the Khorramshahr 4. Even David Sling, Israel's more advanced defense system tailored for medium-range threats, struggled to keep up with the missile's high velocity and unpredictable final phase maneuvers. During this strike, the success rate of interception was only partial, and what got through became Israel's nightmare realized. But beyond the physical damage, the strategic impact ran even deeper. This attack created a visible crack in the perception that Israel was invulnerable to direct strikes from hostile nations. The Khorramshahr 4's ability to breach Israel's air defenses sent a clear and chilling message. No defense system is truly impenetrable, especially when the missile is equipped to maneuver independently and strike with pinpoint precision. Operation True Promise III wasn't just Iran's retaliation against Israel and the United States. It was a powerful signal that Iran now sees itself not just as a regional power, but as a strategic actor with advanced offensive capabilities. And that level of threat projection would never have been possible without homegrown missile technology of this caliber. Operation True Promise III did more than just shake Tel Aviv and Haifa physically. It sent shockwaves through the very foundation of the region's geopolitical landscape. The Khorramshahr 4 ballistic missile, which successfully penetrated Israel's multi-layered air defense system, marked a turning point in Iran's military doctrine. This was no longer a shadow war waged through proxy militias like Hezbollah or the Houthis. This was direct confrontation, open and unapologetic, between two nations whose strategic ambitions now collide head-on. Western media reported that Israel's response to Iran's strike was a mix of tactical confusion and political recalibration. As the Iron Dome and David's Sling struggled to counter the sheer speed and volume of the ballistic assault, public trust in Israel's once vaunted defense systems began to crumble. Several missiles even hit critical infrastructure, including power facilities and communication hubs. This wasn't just physical damage. It was a powerful blow to the carefully maintained illusion of Israel's untouchable military superiority. Meanwhile, Iran appears to be rewriting the rules of engagement. This operation reshaped regional perceptions, signaling that Iran is now capable of executing direct, deliberate, and precision-targeted attacks. The strike served as a warning, not just to Israel, but to Gulf Arab states and even Washington, that any future military escalation into Iranian territory could come at a far higher cost than previously assumed. That said, Iran's boldness does not come without serious risks. Many analysts agree that Iran likely lacks the capability to sustain high-intensity warfare over a prolonged period. If the conflict drags on, Iran may once again lean on its proxy networks to project power and redirect pressure, potentially through energy choke points like the Strait of Hormuz. Such a move could trigger a strong response from the United States, or even spark broader military involvement from international powers. Another fascinating element in this unfolding story is how major global players like China and Russia have chosen to keep their distance. While neither country has offered full support to Iran, they've also refrained from directly opposing its actions. This neutrality could be a calculated move, signaling that the conflict may be leveraged later as a bargaining chip in larger global geopolitical negotiations. But one thing is now undeniably clear. War is no longer confined by diplomatic red lines. The new boundaries are defined by missile range, by the readiness of air defense systems, and by how far world leaders are willing to go to prove their dominance, even at the expense of regional stability.